These were the blankets we slept in. This is the coffee we didn't have a chance to drink in the morning. And the house was destroyed. And so we decided to rebuild again. And that's been the pattern of rebuilding houses that have been demolished once or twice or three times as resistance. Now, Salim says that the demolition of a home is really the demolition of a family. And men, women, and children react in very different ways. For men, it's very emasculating. It's humiliating. A man cannot provide shelter for his family. A man can't protect his family. But men get out at least. You know, they work out of the house. So they're out. They can vent. They can, they have channels of getting the anger out. I mean, it's still there, but for women, it's a double tragedy, like Arabia. For women, most Palestinian women don't work out of the house. So their home is their entire domestic sphere. I mean, this is what defines them as people, as women, as mothers, as wives, the home. So when a woman loses her home, she becomes disoriented. She doesn't know where to start, how to fulfill her functions and so on. Without a home. And the women tend to fall into a kind of mourning, almost. Arabia didn't speak for 2 months after the demolition of her home. The first demolition of her home. And she's never really come back to the person she was. But then, eventually, you have to leave the tent. You can't stay in. So you move into the domain of another woman. Either your mother-in-law, because you move into your husband's families. So you move in with 7 or 8 kids. You move into your mother-in-law's house, move into one of your sister-in-law's house. So here, and this is open-ended. It's not for a weekend or something like that. So obviously now you're a lot of people living in inadequate, crowded conditions. It begins to be a lot of friction between the women, because each woman is trying to have her space with her family and so on. And then, of course, the women, the Arabia begins to say to Salim, I can't stand this anymore. You got to get us out of here. You got to give us a house. And he doesn't have the money, and he can't get a house, and he can't build a house. And it creates even domestic violence, because divorce is not common in Arab societies. So there are, and people in the camp have seen here and there signs of that kind of tension that exists. And then the kids also suffer tremendously. In other words, this is Lena, her teenage daughter. So what we did finally to help them, we can't deal with thousands of families. We're not the UN. And we're not a relief organization. We're political. But we do feel a sense of responsibility for the families we work with. So finally, Arabia came to us and said, look, you've got to help us get out of this situation. So we helped them until today, we helped them rent an apartment to the north of Jerusalem, where at least they can live because they can't come back to their home. Well, it's very close to Ramallah. So during the Second Intifada, Israeli warplanes just flew right over the roofs of the houses to bomb Ramallah, which is in sight. Now, all of us look up and see a plane a mile up in the sky when we hear the noise. And imagine the noise when it's right over your house. It's deafening. And the shooting. And then you get Apache helicopters shooting missiles into Ramallah. And you have tanks coming through your neighborhood on the way to Ramallah shooting. The kids were terrified. The noise, the fear, it's a horror story. So the kids are throwing up. They can't stand on their legs. So Salim comes to his kids. And he says to them, it's okay, I'm here. I'll protect you. And Lena says to him, you can't protect this. We saw what the soldiers did to you when they demolished our house. You can't protect this. And he says you can imagine the feeling of a father when his daughters don't believe that they can be protected, that they're vulnerable, so on. So, you know, the trauma is there, and so on. And finally, just to finish this piece, we rebuilt the home 4 times. It's still standing. And the last time we built it with this mural on the house. There's a dead, his head's in the way, but it says cat. It's a dead Caterpillar bulldozer, because Caterpillar produces bulldozers and sells them to Israel as military equipment that's specially designed to demolish homes.
Which we probably
You know.
pay for.
Which you pay for because
The US
it's sold, exactly.
Gives a lot of military
That's
aid to
right.
Israel.
It's sold under the Arms Export Control Act. And the shovel is in a way, because you know, if you hit a building with a normal bulldozer, it can collapse on the driver. So it's designed in a way that when it hits a building, it falls away from the driver. They're machines made specifically to demolish Palestinian homes. So this dead bulldozer, amidst a pile of dead armaments, with the figures of 2 women hovering over the scene. One of them is Rachel Corrie, whose name I'm sure most of you know, the young American woman, the student who was killed in Gaza, trying to defend a Palestinian home and was run over by a bulldozer twice and killed. And the other woman is a Palestinian woman named Nuhas Swaydan, the pregnant mother of 10 children in Gaza, who was killed when the Israeli army demolished her home on top of them at night. She was in her bed at night and was killed. So the home is sort of dedicated to these 2 women. So there's a lot more to tell. I have other slides. I won't get it, you know, the wall and everything else. But I think it's good maybe to leave it at this. I'll leave it here, and then we can open up things for discussion.
I have 4 jobs for everybody in this room. One is
Volunteers.
no, nothing there. I have my list. One is that you have to, after we break up here, eat more of this food because I'm not taking it home. 2 is
We have a lot of cupcakes and
Yes,
a beautiful
there's dessert.
pie.
2
and
is
coffee.
that there is literature over on that table, and there are books for sale, and Elise has a mailing list. So the second job is to take the literature and read it and find out more and get on the ICOD mailing list.
And give to other people
And-
too.
The third is to engage with Jeff after the formal presentation, to ask him more questions and pick his brains, because as you can tell, he is just this walking ball of facts and history.
There's a few remnants left to pick.
Okay, and then the 4th task, and this is what this, I don't know if it's actually not the most important, but it is a very, very important task, and that is, I have this hat here. All of this stuff that Jeff has been talking about takes money. Jeff going around and talking to people and exposing the realities of what's going on takes money. Building these houses, they're built on the cheap and a lot of volunteer labor, but it still takes money. And
Producing, writing and producing books and materials.
producing the literature, because what's important, what Jeff was saying, you know, building 165 houses in the face of 24,000 demolitions may not seem like much, but 24 acts or 165 acts of resistance is very important. And the other thing that's as important is the people who participate in that, they come back and they spread the word, and they bring their friends to hear Jeff, and they get this out, because the problem is that people don't know what's going on over there, and especially in this country where our tax money, so much of our tax money goes there, we have a special responsibility to understand what is going on with our money and in our name, and especially in our name, some of us as Jews. So all of this requires money. So I want everybody to dig really, really deep. You know, we
And
asked,
if you want to write a check.
and if you want to write a check, you
Maybe
can
it's
write the
deeper.
check to ICOD,
USA.
ICOD USA, ICAHD USA. And I know, you know, some of you, I know, were hesitant about coming, and I said, no, I come even if you can't pay the minimum, because I think it's really important to hear what Jeff has to say. And so, you know, whatever you can pay is great and wonderful. But those of you who can afford more than the minimum, I would really ask that you dig as deep as you can. I know, for example, that maybe Judith has a check for us for how much?
Where you put her on the spot.
I am putting her right on the spot.
That's a good friend.
250, we take $250. So,
I don't think they negotiate, we're not gonna negotiate.
No, but that's the minimum.
so I'm gonna pass this hat now, and now I'm gonna get out of the way so that you can all pepper Jeff with. Yeah.
And for those who don't want to pay
I
taxes
missed
to
the
go to the
name
war
of the-
machine, contact the War Resisters League. And they can tell
I
you
missed the
all
name of
about
the
resisting
woman that
taxes.
was the other woman besides Corey.
Nuha, Sweden. The
Okay.
Palestinian woman.
Could you say, I'll try to remember it because I would like to know that.
War Resisters.
I think it's on your website.
Nuha, N-U-H-A. Sweden, S-W-E-I-D-A-N.
Thank you.
I can write it down now.
Thank you.
Because you've been giving us a historical perspective, but since the election of Netanyahu, since the success of J Street, which has reached a lot of people in the United States, are making them think big issue.
I'm staying away
You
from that
comment
because I know it's good.
where you think we are now and what direction you see, I mean, any kind of small or comment on J Street or some of the other changes that Main Street is.
I think we're probably broken up. Individually.
There's
I like that
coffee,
question though.
there's decaf coffee, and
Likewise,
there's
right?
lots of, there were cupcakes and apple pie.
I
And there's Jeff is still there.
I just would like to tell us.
Well, after 6 years, it's a good time.
We're liberals in every other.
You couldn't say a word against the in any way, shape, or form. That's right. You couldn't. That's right. And then they would consider you anti-Semitic if you
Maybe I'll take a shot. They're creating a wedge between APAC and
They are, and so we try to say that there is some good.
It's a long way.
So,
No, we support J Street from that point. Not there. Yeah. I mean, they don't support us. They don't want to work with us.
not up to this choir at all. I mean, I can't read music that well. If I don't stay next to you, I can't. Yeah, and I don't want to be a burden.
Okay, great.
I don't think you're a burden.
Well, you know what? The things
I
are
don't
getting
understand you or
You're not a burden.
more
Well,
done.
you know,
More.
if you're not there, then someone else has to sing with me because I can't do the soprano.
But at the same time, I just don't think this is sustainable.
But you're
This is a
learning,
global thing.
and you know, you'll get it.
Obama has said
And
but
your
I don't
voice is
wanna-
an addition.
Oh, well,
conflict,
thank you, but I don't want
compromise.
to. I don't want to be a
I
burden.
don't
You know, if you're having, are you having fun or not?
So,
Well, I enjoy it. It's
there's
a lot of
matter
work,
work.
but I feel like I'm
If
working.
you're having fun, do it. If you're
Yeah,
not,
often.
don't. That's what I say, because you're not a burden, so that's not the factor. If you're enjoying yourself, if you're learning, and you like it, come. I love having it.
Well, that's very nice to say. I feel like I'm definitely learning. I mean,
You know, when I first started, don't you put anything in front of me that's not chocolate. What do you think?
Well, they kept taking the chocolate. What can I say?
You know, these were at the WRL dinner, and I didn't get any then either.
they're beautiful. I'm fine, thank you.
So it's like everything else.
You're very welcome.
So that's what I would say. And I think where should I put the take it around? Sure, find somebody to voice this.
Have you well, you know, as long as you don't feel that I'm a burden, because I feel like I stay there.
You know what? If you consult with some of my friends, they might tell you that actually.
So that he's, in a sense, he can take control of his party.
Is it true?
I think he can.
Very kind of you.
Because there'll be a lot of resistance. In Washington, everybody says he'll have more problems than that.
There's flyers on the table.
He's going to have with Netanyahu.
Well, I'm
Is that true?
kind of
Strength. He'll have the clout to then say,
I'm
"Okay,
unhappy
we've got to deal with this."
if there's not somebody depending on it.
well, you're kind of.
No, it's true.
If he doesn't,
Well, I'll take that
She's
in
known me for a
consideration.
long time.
I'm so proud to know you.
I'm going to take a look at the literature in here and just see. It was a wonderful presentation.
I feel like Time Magazine on the other end of the
My friend Judith here.
Really?
and Iraq. You want to stabilize Pakistan. You want to deal with that. The whole And so
We did
I
some of
think
that
it's
with this too, but it was also a lot
I
of
just
like
don't know
change
when
city blocks.
and how to. I don't see
Government
some
is,
meetings.
but for a long time,
I just don't think it.
I have history. And, you know, there wasn't the land cloud, people finished without a land. I learned that when I was in college.
You've always been the face behind.
Well, that's what it seems.
You know, I sort of started to get into it and learn more and more. So I've always kind of my name is not away.
You know, my
And you
life
have a
is
special responsibility to pick up because so much, and it's particularly about 25 years ago, so much of the Jewish community is just like you say something and you're witness.
Right.
You know, and so, and then that's it's shifted a lot of it's shifting and it's a lot more open and talk more, you know.
But that's where
This
we
would
can
have,
do
but it's still that long spot. You know, so that's how I got into this issue, and that's sort of my issue. And then there's a lot of groups doing like it, where I met Elise, the U.S. staff person, a couple years ago through a break who broke my heart, but I won her in the divorce.
She would.
No, so, you know, and I knew about icon work, and so I did some of that. And it was such an amazing experience. I'd like to do it again next summer. No, I went to that.
Right.
This was so informative. This is the best I've ever heard anybody put information about.
My fantasy is that Bill Moyers is going to spend an hour. That's my fantasy.
I mean, and Odell's question is really great, but I mean, yeah, you know, I mean, what's